And welcome to Arinsal in Andorra, where the sun is absolutely blazing down on these amazing mountains with tracks and trails, with piste and amazing restaurants. What better place to come to tick off your mountain bike bucket list? The bike park here playing host once again to the World Championships. We were here in 2015, we're back in 2024 for the UCI Mountain Bike World Championships. We're here in Arinsal in Andorra at the top of this section of the mountain. We're by no means on the summit, and by we is myself, Matt Payne, and Tracy Mosley here in the commentary box. The weather for the men's elite cross-country Olympic may well have an impact, because it does mean we've got a slightly different format. Let's explain to you what you've got coming up in front of you for the race. So the mountain bike cross-country Olympic distance is midway between the marathon and the mountain bike eliminator. It sits in the aim for all of our riders who set off together is to get around this course at the front of the race field. Your position as you come across the line, absolutely critical. Now the race duration normally between 1 hour 20 and 1:40. We're going to find today that that will change slightly, because we have got one less lap of the amazing track here, due to the fact that despite the amazing blue skies with a bit of cloud about, we are due an immense thunderstorm. Let's see what the riders are going to take on. Let's give you the stats on the track first of all. 4 kilometers of race distance, 160 meters of elevation. We're going to be covering the lap 6 times here in Arinsal, which means the total race distance should be 24 kilometers, and that's 960 meters of elevation during the race. The race route starts from down on the uphill start, finish straight, big climb up, down through some bike park berms, climb to the high point on the far right hand side of your screen, big climb up from the base. We then come back through past the pit and onto the new section, the far side in the middle of the paddock area, which has got some really tricky sections, been quite decisive in a number of riders' finishing positions before we make our way back to the uphill finish in underneath that UCI gantry to finish off the race. As you can see, we have got a lot of elevation, and that is going to really affect how hard the course is going to be for the riders. Let's take a look out on course with Roger Turner from Andorra.
Here in Andorra, Arinsal, a very nice track, but also a very, very hard track. As you can see, we have also a very big route in this climb. Here we also have 2 different lines. This one is a little bit shorter, but it's harder than the other one. And now we arrive at the most difficult descent of the track. As you can see, a very fun track, but a very tough one.
So some very distinctly different sections out on course. Ryder who's been out on the track already. Tracy Mosley, we're back again. Tracy, more race action here in Andorra. The course, I mean, that was a really good indication of the different types of terrain the riders are facing, from bike park, from tarmac to natural. In terms of our former champions, we've got Jordan Saru, Thomas Pidcock, we've got Nino Schurter here. I mean, that covers a lot of people. We've got a lot of medalists as well. People like Matthias Flukinger, David Valerio, Sam Gaze in there, Luca Bredo. Is there anyone in particular you think it's going to suit? Because it is a real track of all types.
Yeah, I think you've got to be a really good all-round mountain biker for this. There's lots of technical terrain. There's some savage climbs. We are at altitude, so that affects a lot of people in different ways. Some people really love to race at altitude, some really suffer. But I think we've got lots of line choice as well, so hopefully we're going to get a really exciting race. And I think whoever's got the best all-round skills today is going to take away that jersey.
Well, one man we didn't expect to see on the start line. In fact, we only knew for certain he was here, and we literally walked round the side of him outside the commentary box there. Matthias fluking, a man who has had his appendix out in the past week. Mission get on the start line happened. He's been allowed on by the race commissaires, the commissaires panel, which is basically the race referees. That is a move nobody was really expecting. I mean, we wanted to see him because we want to see what he can do, but he's had so many silver medals. This is going to be, you know, mission impossible to go get a medal surely after what he's been through.
Well, you never count Matthias out. He was the winner here last year when the World Cup was here in Andorra as well, so he does love this track. He's had success here in very different conditions, mind you, than today. But yeah, this is the one thing that's missing from his mantelpiece, and I guess, yeah, anything to be here on the start line, and he's made it happen.
Amazing to see that he's got it on to the line now. We're going to pull on the front row of the grid. The riders are ranked by their world ranking, and that means that Lucas Schwartz, by the first of our riders to the top 8 to go on to the grid. No World Championships medal at the elite level. Second at Leogang in 2020. Here's a world's medal. John Saru, the second of our front row grid riders coming. He is the #1 World Championship, the XCO, the former champion from 2020. Next onto the line, well, Filippo Columba of Switzerland, a man with a point to prove the Swiss champion, and a man who we know can ride very, very strongly indeed. Now our next rider being pulled to the line is going to be Matthias Fluking, that man who took that World Cup win here. He's 3 times been second at the World Championships. He's got a bronze medal as well. It is the only colour missing from his mantelpiece, as he's followed by the Olympic champion, the man who is the defending champion, Tom Pidcock from the Great Britain team, makes his way to the line. This rider, probably with, I think, a point to prove, and a man who has got a 75% success rate in the World Cups. One man who knows exactly how to win, though. The 10-time world champion. He kicked it off in Canberra in 2009. His last World Cup win, 2022 in Leger, and a bronze medal last year. Is there anything this man can't do? I'm not so sure there is. He is going to be followed to the grid by the man from France, Victor Koretsky. Number 3, a 3rd place in Val di Sole in 2021. The man who took 2nd at the Olympic Games in that, a fantastic battle with Tom Pidcock. He's on form, but can he stay in front of this man? The man who sits at the top of the world rankings, Alan Hatherley, the winner of the Under-23 World Championships in Lenzerheide in 2018. He's got wins, he's got podiums aplenty at the World Cup, and he's a bronze medalist from the Olympics in Paris this year. All our medalists from the Paris Olympics. We've got former champions and medalists all lined up on the grid. The grid, 76 riders deep from 34 nations. And we've got riders of the calibre, people like Sam Gates on row number 2, Christopher Blevins back there. They're being drawn up now, and this is where it's going to be really key, getting position on this start line. The nerves are going to be jangling, Tracy.
Oh, for sure. This is the biggest race of the year for all these guys. Obviously, Olympic Games only happens every 4 years, but this is World Championships. Every year, you get a chance to have a go at winning that rainbow jersey, so this is a big day. Been on the focus for all of these guys' minds for the last 12 months for sure.
Like senior no-shirter there with a Swiss jersey, the number 5 plate. Tom Pidcock with a number 1 alongside the former Olympic champion with the current Olympic champion. What is going to happen now on course? It's time to find out. The riders controlled by the lights. This is all down to getting a good start, get into that corner first. The right-hand turn that takes you up the climb. The lights are red. When they go green, our riders are good to go.
15 seconds. Gentlemen, watch the lights.
And we go, it's go time, here we go. It's a big kick by Pidcock, drifts backwards a little. Schwarzbauer with that explosive kick of his gets himself into the lead at the moment. The German rider in number 1 through with a good start on the left-hand side. Koretsky with him as well, and it looks to me like the whole field just about making him red in one piece. Now, we're going to see a lot of different styles and starts here. Pidcock, renowned for not making it easy for himself, is in the middle of that melee as they come up the climb with his teammate Shirley Aldridge from Great Great Britain making ground on the left-hand side, trying to keep himself in the running as they come around the top and down into this twin line descent. 2 descents down this dual track, and it's all about making sure you stay out of trouble at this stage. Up near the front, Tracy, big kick-off from Schwarzbach, took him into the race lead, and at the moment, that means that he is the person who is in control coming out of that start straight.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a hard start. There's so much dust you can see flying as well to be able to see, to stay out of trouble. And that start straight, the rest of the laps, there's one line, nice smooth line that everyone uses. But when you have to start, everyone's in the gravel on the outside, losing traction's going to happen. So yeah, really tough start, but glad to see everyone away cleanly. And Lucas still managed to take that front of the race as we head into the first steep climb.
So here we go, onto the climb, being made by the rider with number plate 2 plate. That is Victor Koretsky of France, moving up on the shoulder there. They're all in attention. Nobody wants to lose any kind of ground at the moment. Good ride by Filippo Colombo, who is right up in the mix. Andressen not far off the pace. Pidcock comes through. He's currently sitting a little bit further back. Looks like to be about 20th position at the moment because they're packing them in at the front here, but they're going to thin down. We're going into the woods, into the single track, a traverse around and a climb up before we get to the high point of the course, and then a really technical descent. Not a lot of choice about where you go if you're stuck in the pack here.
No, you can see already after that fast start, you know, position's so important. You can see Tom Pidcock there trying to pass someone, but every position now that you can gain is going to be really important. Matthias Flukiger on the right-hand side, just taking a couple of spaces, because this, once you're in here, there is a couple of lines, there's definitely some choices, but it's going to be really hard to make too many moves on this first lap.
So as they come up through this, what is almost single track, it does divide. There are a multitude of lines. There's a twin split here. You can go to the left or right-hand side of an envelope of about 5 or 6 trees in here. You can just see them. And as they go round, Koretsky goes to his left or right. But a split here as Hatley makes a move up on the inside. He's trying to get around Flukiger. They're not sure he's going to be able to make that at the front of the race. So still Schwarzbach from Koretsky as they come over the top here. Colombo looking smooth. We've got Hatley in the mix here. He's not going to be too worried about this early pace as Koretsky moves to the front. The French team and his commercial trade team jubilant earlier on in the week. Let's look at this start again. You can see a lot of bumping about and riders going back. Sam Gaze sat almost directly behind Tom Pidcock, just went backwards.
Yeah, you can see the dust and the rocks flying on this start. It's going to be really hard if you're in the lap pack to actually see what's ahead of you and to keep it safe.
And you can see the riders making the way round onto this technical descent. We're into this downhill. Koretsky wanted to be in position. Schurter right up there as well. He's looking good. You can never discount that man. He would love dearly to get a win here. It's a course that he likes very, very much. He's a rider who does well here. In fact, probably to be fair, there isn't a course out there he doesn't really go that well on. Everybody probably would trade places with him at some point in time. You can see the riders coming through on split number 1, led through by Koretsky, then Schwarzbach, Colombo, Hatley, Schurter, Brado, Flukiger, Aldridge, Gaze, Saru, Vidari, Kosman, all up by that top 10. Pidcock in 20th position at the moment, 21st position as they come down onto this straight. And to some degree, this is a case of now, take a look behind, see where you're at, where you are in position, and set a good foundation down for what's coming.
Yeah, and I think you've got to choose it, whether it's, you know, it's the first lap, you're not going to put everything out there if you're at the front and try and make a gap, but at the same time you want to stay ahead. You've made that difference already, and it's stringing out already, as you can see. The people are getting bunched up on the descent, coming onto the climb, so if you want to move position now, you've got to make such an effort to get past someone, to get off that smooth track that everyone's climbing on, onto the loose gravel to get past people. So it's going to be hard now to really pace yourself.
And a little look over the shoulder there by Jordan Saru, who's behind Charlie Aldridge, just going out of a shot to the left, being followed by Gaze, by Blevins on this climb. They could see that Flukiger was there, and the gap had opened up in front of Flukiger, but to come off and go round, very difficult. Pidcock here at the moment, well, he's not going to have a clean line up here. He's not where he's going to be able to make a move on here because of that difference in the terrain. You can see how smooth it is. It's rolled down, isn't it? It's rolled flat.
Yeah.
Rolled smooth. I'm not sure it's flat. It's not even close.
It's definitely not flat. That is a steep climb. But the riders know how important it is to hold position up there, because as soon as you've got here, you're descending again into some more single track. So it's a really key part of the track.
Good ride by Jens Sherman, as he's already had a good weekend. He was riding strongly earlier on. His teammate, though, is the rider that's about to see Pidcock go past him here. And Pierre de Fromont now glues himself to the back wheel of Pidcock, but they're chasing the man leading this out. Schwarzbach, Koretsky, Hadley in that order. Then we've got Colombo, then Schurter, then Bredo as they come down. They're going to take this turn, a little bit of a gap back to Aldrich from Great Britain. Behind Aldrich then, Gay Saru, Vidari Kussman and Co, all battling it out in that chasing group, but they've got to get back in touch. Left turn onto the steep climb before we drop back into the woods. This really sharp. This was the big climb that we've seen in the short track racing. If you haven't seen it, do catch up with it. Amazing, fantastic, incident-filled races. The chase is on. Don't be fooled, though. That gap, it's bigger, isn't it, in terms of time? Because although it looks close, it's not that close because of the steepness of the hill. Yeah, definitely. And then once you've got to that climb, it's so important because the position there, because you're now into a descending single track, and it's going to be really hard to pass for the next section of the course. So that climb really is key for short track, and it will be today as well. Down into this descent, tight right coming up to take them back around and in again. You've got to carry lots of pace, lots of speed, lots of tree roots here. Now, when we were talking earlier on in the week, this is all about just carrying speed, lifting that front wheel just a little, just to stop those roots, the rocks, just slowing you down. Yeah, there's so much route on this course. It's a really good true mountain bike course, I think. It's super technical. But yeah, trying to carry speed, trying to find those little lines that just keep it smooth and stop your bike getting stopped on every bump is going to save you energy and also maintain the speed. So Lucas Schwarzbauer on the front at the moment, a man who is yet to win a medal at the elite level, a silver medalist from Leogang. Will he be able to grab himself an elite medal this time around? Well, he's leading the field up the side of the gondola station. Here he's going to come up the gondola station to his left, the fantastic resort, the HQ, and all of our trade teams and sponsors. Down on the right-hand side, as we go on to the bridge over the spectators. Underneath the slack line that's been keeping us entertained after the races, with people making their way over the top, but our riders coming up to the top of this section in a while, because this, despite it being around about in the centre of the paddock, where you actually come round at the top of this climb up on the road, this is really bumpy. I mean, you know, there are mountain bike courses with less elevation than just this section. Yeah, and it's got a couple of really key little rock sections. We'll see one coming up shortly, so there's definitely places where you can certainly make mistakes. We've seen that in earlier races as well. So this section is a great addition to the course, and yeah, all these riders together now, it's going to be really interesting to see that if there's any changes in position. And the riders now coming back together pretty much in a train, the odd second or two on the way through these gaps here. There's not a huge distance opening. The biggest one at the moment looks to be opening up behind Colombo to Aldridge there. Then we've got a gap behind Christopher Blevins from the United States of America, back to Sam Gaze in the black of New Zealand. Little bit of a gap back directly behind Yuri Zanotti of Italy as they come down into this descent. Though, look at the speed of Schwarzbauer down there. They come tumbling down here very quickly indeed. A lot of correction, lots of different lines being taken. Absolutely key to be able to ride pretty much everything with the volume of riders coming in together here. Yeah, definitely. That's a great little section to see all the different line choice, and often you see there's not a huge difference in it. It's just a choice of the rider, or potentially if someone's in your line, you've got to go somewhere else. A nice direct line there from Tom Pidcock dropping off that rock, one we've not seen yet. So the leaders coming in and through this, causing one or two problems as riders got tight. It's a little bit simpler on the way through. A couple of line choices here, but nothing too drastic separating them out at the moment. Blevins with that gap to Gaze. Gaze really pumping the bike through there as it came through that section. Everybody wants to be up in touch. Everyone wants to be in contention. Good to see Andrei Sinkov there. He's one of those riders who seems to have been around forever. He's up there in the World Cup, but it's his best position in the World Cup, a 17th position so far this year. Yeah, he's definitely had some good rides here. Back in 2013, 2015 Worlds, he took a bronze medal, so he obviously enjoys this track. already up and into the chase, but the riders he's chasing now come around. They take this left-hand and got another section up over the bridge. This is the same bridge that we saw them go on to the central island. They drop down, and now we're going to go into the pump track. So dropping down over the pedestrian bridge here and down into the pump track. They zigzag the way round this pump track before descending down and into the woods, back round and through towards our start-finish straight. This race, a 6-lap race, one less than originally intended due to that compressed schedule. Well, we're packing all of our Sunday races into the morning to avoid anybody being stuck out here when the thunderstorms are due to roll through this afternoon. Little bit of a gap opening up a little further back down here. I think that is going to be Finney Carsten just getting a little bit of gap open up between him and the riders in front, but back up at the front of the race. This is your leading group coming around. Charlie Aldridge must be feeling really good. Without giving any spoilers away about what's happened earlier in our racing, Tracy, he's probably got a reward in terms of the effort he's put in earlier on in the season in the World Cups, the promise he's shown, the fact that he has taken titles as a younger rider. He's now up and in the mix time and time again, and got a reward for that earlier on. That's got to keep him buzzing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's always been renowned to be quite a fast starter, and we've seen that with quite a few races. I think he's slowly learning to be able to back that fast start up and continue, and yeah, it's so great to see him up there amongst the elite riders, and let's hope he doesn't go too hard too soon and he can stay in contention.
So in and through the line, the first 4-kilometre lap done. Schwarzbauer's time 11 minutes 40 seconds. Behind the group come through 7 riders in that leading group, separated by 4 seconds. 6 seconds behind the last rider comes Schurter, 10 seconds down on the race lead, and you can see this group. It's a big group as they come through. A few seconds opening up behind Pidcock, still holding in 20th position, the defending world champion, the Olympic champion at the moment, sitting in 20th place. But if you've ever watched a race of Tom Pidcock, you know it's only a matter of time before he starts to make a move. He starts to make his way through that pack. He tends to do it in bursts. It's not a steady one by one. He'll spend a little bit of time resting, and now we're seeing another kick in here. He's already made, I think, 2 if not 3 places. He's going to make a few more before they come into the corner. One burst, take 4 or 5 places, make a move up and get yourself up, and then another rest. That technique, it really works for him.
Yeah, definitely. He seems to have perfected it. He doesn't like to make things easy and have a great start. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen a 20-second gap there after lap 1. I feel like he's not going to panic. He's come back from bigger disadvantages in the past in races. And I think, yeah, he's obviously got this measure of being patient and knowing where there's a gap and where he can expend energy and where he needs to conserve it. So, yeah, it's impressive to see. It's worked more than once already.
It has indeed. Do have a watch back. If you're new to mountain biking, welcome to the World Championships for 2024 in the XCO. Amazing racing across mountain biking across all of its disciplines, from the 4-cross to the downhill to the eliminator to the marathon. There's something for everybody, whatever flavour of mountain biking you're into. We're looking down on our leading group to the top left-hand side of your screen. The chasers behind are coming, and from being in 20th positions to come up to the top of this climb, I think we're going to see Pidcock moving his way up into 9th position at the moment. He's going to lead the chase group behind our leaders into the woods, along with the riders alongside. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody's been able to follow him at the moment. The back of that leading group, Jordan Sarrou of France, the man who has already taken a title. He's right up there. Will he be able to make his way up into the lead? Sarrou, a rider that after that 2020 ride in Leogang, he kind of was, he's almost never quite had that same form.
Yeah, I think it's always hard when you win a World Championships. It's such a big goal of many riders, and to back it up and win another one and have good seasons, it's definitely hard to do, although there's riders that have made a really good job of that. It's certainly something that a lot of riders struggle with, and yeah, continuing that form year after year is not something that's an easy thing.
Now as they come up here, Schwarzbauer goes to our left, the rider's right, Koretsky leads the charge on the other line here. Just see Matthias Flukinger dropping back, and Pidcock now is going to make his way up. Blevins is also close by here. We'll see where they end up as they come over. You just see Pidcock almost stalling. Blevins is going to come back in pretty much where he is. It allows him to go into that spot behind Pidcock coming into this descent. Koretsky though wants to lead them in and down. You can see just going to the right hand side. It almost follows the ridge line down here, doesn't it, as you come down, and there's a lot of rocks just sloping away from the riders.
Yeah, this is a super fun section of the course to ride, and there's multiple line choices, and everyone's going to have their favourite, and ultimately there's not much difference in them. There's a really sharp slab of rocks here that's fun to ride, but it's probably a risky manoeuvre to take potentially this early in the race, and yeah, there's not loads to be gained, but space to be able to overtake if you needed to.
So away from that ridge on that long drop down the spine of the mountain here in the Pyrenees. Koretsky leading out that leading group. The gap back from Colombo to Bredo only a couple of seconds, but as you can see, the gas from Flukinger to Pidcock, 3 seconds to go through that gap. The moves being made behind the race leaders. That leading group still pretty much together. We're going to have to see what it's like when we come to the top of the big climb. The spectators are waiting behind our riders. This drop will take them down into that massive climb. It's Koretsky who comes down this time in front of Aldrich, who's in second position. Schwarzbauer coming off the front, going into third wheel. Hathtley in fourth place. Behind you can see a big push coming from Colombo as well as he tries to stay in touch. This is going to be critical, because if Koretsky can break a few people now, it's an instrumental point in the race to do so. On to lap number 2 with people having expended energy on lap 1. Behind Flukinger, Blevins, followed by Pidcock, really working hard out of the saddle. And they've got in there for company, that's a rider number 38, just making his way up in the mix. Another of our French riders. Is this going to be a day for the French, Tracy? We've seen them be on form. They consider this almost a home championship in lots of ways. Despite us being in Andorra, we are in the Pyrenees on the border of France, the border of Spain as well. Can we see the French do this? Will Koretsky overturn the result that he got when he was racing in the Olympics in the XCO there?
Yeah, I'm sure he's definitely got a point to prove, and he'll want to get that victory today for sure. And the French always seem to rise for the World Championships. They've got a great team structure. They seem to always get the best out of their riders. And like you said, there's been a lot of French supporters here, so it does going to feel like a home race for them. And I know for sure they'll be pushing really hard. They love to win World Championships, and they're generally pretty good at it.
Well, one of their riders, Matthias Zero, in front of Sam Gaze in front of just a really blistering quick start here at the moment. They're all chasing to try and get on to the leading group, being led by Koretsky around the left-hand turn. This will take them down through past the feed at tech zone. And look, this has plenty of fluid, plenty of gels being passed up already to the riders. Lots of bottles from going over the back of the neck. It is still quite warm here. The sun is out, and when it is out, we're at altitude. It's definitely having its effect on the riders. It's very, very warm. It feels like, to me, that the temperature's meant to be 22 degrees. It feels like 35 degrees in the sunshine and more like 25 in the shade. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, you can see the dust as well these riders having to contend with. We're riding at altitude as well, makes the air always feel that much drier. So taking on fluids is going to be really, really important, just to make sure that they can keep those fluids topped up and to make sure they can last the whole race.
So through this section where we saw Charlie Aldridge on lap 1 take that lower line, this time round sitting in position number 2, he chooses to follow the main upper line as they came into the woodland. This leading group just eking out a little bit more of a gap as they come through this woodland. So Koretsky, Aldridge, Schwarzbauer, Colombo, Bredo, Saru with that gap. It's opening back to the chasing group behind. Flukinger, Pidcock, Blevins, Azaro, then the riders chasing. This is Pidcock leading through Azaro, leading through Blevins, and Gage just with a little bit of a gap opened up behind the wheel of the tall rider from the United States of America, Christopher Blevins. A rider, I mean, we know he's got skills. We know he's got a massive sprint on him. I mean, his victory when he took the very first short track win in the World Championship. Oh, it was a fantastic sprint down to take that. You saw how much he wanted it. But this course really tough. Now let's take a look back. We've got a few incidences out on the track, sliding out on the corner here, and very easy to do. Schwab, who's had a good course, and interestingly, his countryman pushed off course there through the tapes by the look of it. It certainly looked like it to us. If you go off course, Tracy, the commentators will be watching. If you don't regain the course, if you don't come back on the course at the point where you left, you can be disqualified.
Yeah, in theory, you have to go back, and enter exactly the same post. So in that position, maybe go back round the post and take yourself back up the hill. So it's definitely a huge disadvantage. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not he did make that mistake or not.
We'll have to find out a little bit later on. At the moment, we're at split number 2, 6.8k into this race. The total race distance, 24 kilometres, by which point we're going to have climbed in excess of 960 metres of ascent. The leading group on your screens at the moment, making the way in through round this right-hand turn. Flukinger chasing in this trio of riders. Zero being chased by Blevins, and then that gap to Gaze really starting to open up on that steep climb. Gaze, a very experienced rider. He's a rider that we know is going to pick his moment. He's going to look, and he's not going to panic, is he?
No, there's always time, I think, in a race. If you feel strong and you've got some good lines, you can always keep picking off riders one by one, and he's often come back stronger towards the end of the race. So definitely we might just be sitting there recovering from an effort, ready to go again.
Just seeing Aldridge go through our screens, being chased there by the rest of the leading group. It levels out a little bit here, then you start picking up speed very quickly. It looks like the trio of chasers are about to make contact with the back of this group here. You can just see the chases on here, and it's not going to be long before they're there. That's Flukinger. This is Pidcock. That's the gap coming down. We're into lap 2 of 6, so we're not yet at a third of the race distance covered, and already we're seeing this group. We've seen a fracture, and we've seen it coming back together again. And after that Tim Pidcock style start, the Olympic champion making his way back in touch. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a really interesting race. We've got two kind of main climbs, and I feel like that's where we're always going to stretch the race on those climbs, and then back into the technical section it kind of regroups again. So I think we're going to see lots of yo-yoing. It's going to be interesting where that attack is going to be able to be made and where it's then going to hold, and how much effort is someone like Tom Pidcock going to have to do to really bridge that gap, to then get back to the front and maintain that space at the front. It's going to be yeah, fascinating.
So over the bridge, great shot from above. This takes you over the roadway. Second bridge drops us down to the pump track. Down goes the race leader and the rest of that leading group. The gap back behind Colombo at the moment. Just sitting there, it's going to be to Flukinger, who's now losing a little bit of ground to his countryman from Switzerland. The front of the race, so Victor Koretsky of France, setting the pace, setting the tempo, really is the man who has picked up the baton and is really setting the pace of the race.
Yeah, and it's nice if you can be at the front of the race and you can just ride your own rhythm, you can ride your own lines, you can almost relax into it, and as long as he's feeling okay and he's not pushing over his limit, he's in a great place.
So our leaders descending back into the woods. They'll come out of the woodland after a slight climb. It's a little bit rooty, a little bit rattly before you come onto the grass here, as we see Koretsky leading, Hatherley and Aldridge out into this feed. Takes soon a quick word there from Koretsky to the team there on the way through, just shouting over. He's going to see them pretty quickly. The pits, the feed takes out, aiming to be halfway through, so that if a rider does have a problem, they can get there really quickly.
Great shots here coming through one of the technical sections. You can see how rocky this is, and here we go. We're going to have a replay of the different lines that these guys are choosing to take down here.
So as they come through to the line, Koretsky leads them through at the end of lap at number 2. Hatley glued us with a little bit of a gap back to Aldridge, though before that's just a little pause before we go up onto the climb. The two Swiss riders here, Colombo and Flukinger, with work to do. 3 seconds to get back to the leading group. Pidcock's group of Azaro and Blevins sitting at 14 seconds. The defending and Olympic champion in there with Blevins and Azaro. France well represented in the lead group. They've got representation in the chasing group. Now on the front, in the shape of Victor Koretsky. He said this feels like a home race. He lives very close. He rides here regularly. His family are here as well. We've seen him at the end of the races with them and clearly enjoying the championship so far.
Yeah, he obviously had great form going to the Olympic Games as well, and I think if you've had that form, it's not been that long to be able to carry that through, and certainly he's got a point to prove after that race, and it's great to see that he's taken out the front of the race at the moment.
Now coming down this descent, two different lines. Koretsky took the left-hand line. Aldridge takes the right. He goes down that a little bit quicker. That is Charlie Aldridge territory.
That was a bit of a Charlie kind of back wheel slide. He just loves riding his bike, and it's great fun to see that he can still be doing that at this level at the front of the bike race.
And I was lucky enough to be on the mic for one of the British National Series, and afterwards we stayed at Woody's Bike Park, got to play on the park. It's a downhill park that's turned into a cross-country race venue as well. Oh my goodness, that man has got some skills. He was on a borrowed bike, and he was, I think the longest jump there is 25 metres distance. You go from the takeoff ramp to the landing, no problems at all. Yeah, absolutely flying. He absolutely loves riding that bike, but so does Pidcock and the rest of the riders. You can't be at this level without actually enjoying it as well, surely. No, and that's what is so great about mountain biking, that you get rewarded for your efforts as well with the downhills, being able to have fun, to play on your bike, and I think that's why we all love mountain biking. It's just such a unique sport with so much pleasure to be had. And so much different terrain here in Pal Arinsal. We're on lap 3 of 6. Koretsky, Hatherley, Aldridge, Bredo, Schwarzbauer, Saru, Colombo, Flukinger, Pidcock, Azzaro and Blevins. So your top 11, they are the 11 riders nearest to the front of the race. So we're choosing 11 quite simply because that includes our chase group here, which are making the way up on to the climb. And just seeing Flukinger go backwards after that monumental effort to get to the start line after having appendicitis this week. He's starting to drift. No one's going to blame me for that. Just an amazing ride to be in there and to be at the sharp end early on. He can't surely stay there. The pace is fast already.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously wanted to be here so much, and I guess if you're in that situation, you're always going to give it a try and hope that a miracle can happen. And yeah, I mean, the race is still far from over, but it does look like he's struggling to keep the pace as the rest of those groups are trying to gain on that front group.
And it is the World Championships, the best riders in the world here in Paris, Pal Arinsal in Andorra. As are fantastic. The Batmobile it's been nicknamed alongside there with the camera tracking the riders coming down this ridge line. You really get any idea that this course just sits on top, just goes to the left, to the right of that ridge, follows the trail down here. It's a trail you can come and ride. If you think, oh, I can do that, come and have a go.
Yeah, it's definitely a really fun section of the course, and it's quite an extended downhill. Often you don't get this extended, but just right from the high point of the course, you've got now two kind of back-to-back descents right before that long piste climb. So you almost get a little bit of recovery here. And certainly if you're a good descender, you can recover a little bit more than someone else who might find this more challenging.
Now the gap's starting to open behind Aldridge. Schwarzbauer losing the ground. And you can just see Saru dropping back as well into 8th position here after that challenge early on. Blevins dropping down. David Lister, Germany, moving up through the race field though. He's steadily been ascending the first split. He was at 19th position. He's moved his way up at the moment, and Lister moving into the top at 10 now, ahead of Blevins in 11th position, but the race being led out now by Charlie Aldridge of Great Britain, Alan Hathley of South Africa in 2nd position, Victor Koretsky of France in 3rd, Luca Bredo sitting in 4th place for Italy, and then you can see Schwarzbauer now being chased down here. You've got Pidcock, you've got Azzaro there, you've got Saru chasing the two Frenchmen on the wheel of the rider from Great Britain, chasing the German rider, chasing the Italian, then the Frenchman, South African, but at the front, Charlie Aldridge of Great Britain on the front after that descent, rolling down and through. The 4 riders have opened a gap. Are they going to push this advantage home? We're on lap 3 of 6. At the line, it will be half a race distance to come up towards the top. Even this section, not easy enough completely. It levels for a very short while at the top. It is still slightly uphill, despite the riders making it look a lot easier than it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Charlie being able to take a drink at the top of the climb makes me think that he's setting into a pace that he's happy with. And I think as long as those guys at the front don't sit up too much, they have got a little gap now. It'll be interesting to see if they can take it in turns and keep eking out that gap ahead of the second bench.
Now on our screens you just see David List there of Germany sitting behind Christopher Blevins. Blevins went with the early pace at the start of this race. List steadily working his way up. Different strategy maybe for List there, facing a little bit more work to do early on. So pacing his way up rather than trying to stay with those leaders. Aldrich though around that left-hand turn, followed by Hadley Koretsky just playing and really flicking the bike around that turn. Then you can see that Bredo is chasing at the moment. Luca Bredo, a rider who really would love to take a medal here today. It would be something for him to add a medal in the elite cross-country to his palmares. He's got to keep in this group. He won't want to stay at the front. He won't want it to go yo-yo too much here. These riders have that gap. They've got to make the most of it. 4 riders clear. Aldrich, Hadley, Koretsky, Bredo down into the woods. The gap behind, it looks to be opening up a little bit more again as Aldrich really continues to push on this descent.
Yeah, I mean, this is nice when you're out front like Charlie is now. You're able to just pick those lines. You can be smooth. You can recover as much as you can. But that's a strong front group, and I think they really can. Oh, and here, that was a sudden, quick gap that Tom Pidcock has managed to make much smaller, and he's now almost on the back of that group. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep pushing.
Well, we saw him on the climb, close up on to Schwarzbauer. He's gone round Schwarzbauer. He's still got Azaro glued to his back wheel. He knows a good wheel to follow when he sees one. Matthias Azaro of France in 7th position as they came through the last split. Moving up, though, as Schwarzbauer drops down below Pidcock and Azaro. So at the moment, the chase coming from Pidcock again. But we saw last lap on that same station. We saw that him on the climb coming up, using those climbing stations. The Olympic champion is trying to make those gaps down. He's leading the 3 riders towards the right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side of your screen, the 4 leaders as they come around. So both groups being led by riders from Great Britain at the moment. A bit further back, you can see Flukinger now in that battle with Saru. Just goes over the top as they come up onto that section, but the leaders are about to emerge from this little woodland onto the main bridge across here. And that gap, well, it is still a few seconds between. They must know that the chase is on behind.
You'd like to think so. I think there's enough places on this course where you can kind of take a sneaky look back. It does snake round and it comes back on itself, and like this bridge crossing, you're going to see where other people are in the race, and that's sometimes really helpful. They'll also have their team on the side of the course giving them time checks, giving them updates, and trying to help them pace it and make the best decisions they can. So there's lots of information out there for the riders to help them during this race.
List now going over in front of Blevins. List in to 10th place. 11th place is Blevins at the moment, being chased by Sam Gaze, then Andreasen, followed by Colombo, Sink and Forster. Lars Forster currently in 16th place. 17th is Notti. Schurter sitting in 18th place the last time we saw, but I think dropping again. In fact, he has David Valero Serrano moving up into a position higher, moving up into 18th, Schurter down into 19th, Guarini into 20th, Dubau 21st at the moment. Some really big names a long way down this race field. Finnick Harston 22nd, Kondani in 23rd, Vidari Kosman, Martin Bloomsdown heading towards the 30th position. Riders who we see regular at the front of World Cups. At the moment, not finding the pace here on the course in Andorra. Our leading group of riders led by Aldrich and Hatley are working hard. You can see it here, though. It isn't easy when you get further back. You can see the dust coming up in front of the riders. Oh,
it's definitely challenging to be able to see that little section we've just watched there. You've got to be so precise to get through those rock boulders, to carry speed and not get stuck at the end and lose all that speed. So, yeah, definitely being at the front of any of the groups is an advantage.
So watching this gap coming down, Schwarzbauer's been distanced by Azaro and Pidcock. They went into this section in the middle of the paddock, so with 3 riders. They've gone down to 2. Flukinger's being shed. He's being chased here by Saru at the moment. So Flukinger and Saru, last time I checked, they were separated by a second or so. List pushing on as well as they make their way in and through. Looking to me like as they drop down, though, that the leading group are going to get company really quickly. It's a fast section where you'd expect more race distance at the moment. Luca Bredo just losing a little bit of ground. When you're at the front, you get to pick your line, you get to see the choice. The further back down the line you go, the more you've got, it's difficult to see. You just get those little bit of gaps opening up. You're not braking at that optimum moment. You're not braking exactly where you want. You've got to brake maybe a little bit earlier coming into the corner. You're accelerating a little time after the leaders go through. All that concertina effect, the compression, the expansion, it just breaks the group. You're just working harder behind.
Yeah, every time, and you can't always guarantee what that wheel in front of you is going to do, and it might stall somewhere, and then you get to stall, and then you've got to make that effort to get back up. So yeah, it's always tricky when you're following a wheel. Unless they're riding exact same pace as you everywhere, you're always going to have to make adjustments, and it's definitely always a little bit harder to be in that second or third wheel.
So through that feeder zone, the shouts coming out for the riders are leading. A group of 3 come through because Bredo has been detached. He's in catching distance, but I think we're going to see a time gap between him. He's almost equidistant between the front group and the chasing duo behind. Aldrich looks behind him. He got a little bit more pace coming around that corner. Hatley just a little slower through that feed take zone. This uphill tarmac section leading into the dirt, into the dust, into our next climb. So it's Aldridge with a slight gap to Hadley and Koreski. Then we've got Bredo at 4 seconds. Pidcock's going to come through at 8. So Bredo really is in no man's land, halfway between the leaders and that fast catching, chasing group. Azaro doing a fantastic job here, holding at bay the Olympic champion, holding on to his wheel and making sure that he gets that right move up there. Schwarzbahn dropping to 7th, Flukinger down to 8th, Saru down to 9th, List up into that 10th place, confirms to come to the line, but Blevins is not detached, he's in 11th. This, your leading group onto the climb, being led by Charlie Aldridge of Great Britain. That leading group with the chasers on the climb, the riders behind. Well, you can see Sam Gates working hard there, that jersey open, but at the moment they are giving away a big old time gap now. 47 seconds from our race lead, 51 seconds to sink. If you want to be inside the top 20 riders as you make your way in and through, you need to be within a minute or so of the race leaders as the chasing group come up onto this second section of climbing into this, the lap number 4, over half race distance.
And interesting, yeah, Tom Pidcock just has made that gap to Luca Bredo and is definitely getting on the back of this group. I'm just wondering if someone like Charlie's looking around as if he's wanting someone else to take the lead here, because if they start to sit up too much, they are going to get caught by those guys behind. But definitely a little bit of looking at each other now to see who's going to take on the front for the rest of this lap.
Well, Pidcock said, well, look, you know, if you lot are going to chat, time for me to go to the front. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth there. Straight over the top he goes, and you can see everybody struggling. Hatley moves up on the left-hand side, though. He wants to take back some kind of control, keep potentially Pidcock under check, but they've just come up that long climb. And Aldrich there, he'd done so much work. He'd been on the front for a long time. He saw Pidcock coming, went, well, I've got a teammate coming up. I'm not doing anything.
I did actually wonder that. I wonder if he was just realising that if he was to sit on the front and just no one else prepared to take over from him, then he's going to help his teammate, and yeah, why not?
And behind, I think Azaro and Pidcock are like, well, okay, thanks very much. You know, we're going to take that. Pidcock quickly moves to the front. Hatley knows the danger of that. Another look across. I think there's a lot of chat going on between Hatley, along with Koretsky, along with Aldrich there. To have that conversation, to be able to exchange tactical differences of opinion, let's say, as you make your way around the course, to be able to do that whilst racing at altitude, that's a serious set of lungs. Yeah,
and that might be an interesting point in the race, to be honest. They might look back on that and wish they hadn't sat up at that moment, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, time will tell. Pidcock leading at the moment, still with a Frenchman glued to his wheel, but at the moment I think that's going to be Koretsky sat behind him. You can just see that Hatley, though, going up onto this section, he's opened a little bit of a gap on the climb. He's extended that as they've come into this descent. Be interesting to see whether he can continue that onwards as he comes in and through, taking advantage of that little bit of a pause in proceedings to go, putting in a counter-attack. Koretsky responding to that, but Hatley now opening up a gap. There's going to be a lot of very happy people if Aaron Hatley can pull it off today here, not just in South Africa, but around the mountain bike circuit and in the mountain bike family. He's been around for plenty of years now, and it's almost a surprise when you look back at Aaron Hatley and you think that when you look back at his medals, his only medal in an XCO World Championship has come as an under 23.
Yeah, and he's had a great career as an elite rider, so I think he's actually sat quite happily on his commercial team teammate there with Charlie Aldridge leading, and he's probably had a little bit of a chance to take a breath, take stock, and now he saw when Tom Pidcock came over the top, he thought, right, now that's a danger man, we need to go, and this could be a very interesting moment of the race.
Pidcock trying to respond to this. Hatley and Koretsky know that he's been working hard to make the junction to get back on the group. The moment he got back, there's been an attack over the top, glued to the back wheel here. You can see the chaser from Matthias Azzaro. I'm not sure there's not a bungee cord between Pidcock's seat pin and the handlebars of Azzaro, because he's been right behind him all the way round here, marking out Pidcock. It's a smart move when you've got the Olympic champion, the defending champion in the race, but he is doing a great ride here.
Oh, it's fantastic, and I think, you know, both Hatley and Koretsky here have really been smart. They've known that Tom Pidcock's had to make a real effort to get up to them, and at that point now, just to put another dig in now and really make him work even harder to get back to them. That was a really good tactical move, and I think, yeah, Azzaro's having a great ride at the back. Charlie Aldridge is recovering now, sitting on the back, as we look slightly back down the field to see the other guys trying to, this pace is now taken up. Pidcock's really making a move at this point.
So a big kick by Pidcock. Azzaro trying to keep the wheel. Aldridge fighting for position at the moment. Azzaro, a rider, he's been national champion. He's had 8 World Cup podiums. Can he add to that with a World Championship podium? They stretch out on this descent. Hatley leading down. Koretsky on his wheel. Pidcock now having to respond to it on the climb. Has ground to make up. Azzaro a little bit further back. Through comes Aldridge behind, sitting in the fifth run of this line at the moment. This is going to be a telling moment, as you said earlier, Tracy, just as it came to the top of the climb, that look at each other when they saw what was going on. Very, very telling. And now Hatley trying to take advantage of the gap he's got. Brado is still not out of touch. He could recover. We're on lap 4 of 6, so just over half race distance as the race leaders dip down off this bank after the steep climb. Pidcock out the saddle, stamping those pedals round.
I think Tom Pidcock knows he's got to try and get back on that wheel now. These guys at the front aren't going to sit around and look at each other anymore. They're going to push hard now with 2 laps to go. There's definitely going to be all out to the finish line.
So here we go, dropping down our leaders in and through the gap to Pidcock was 7 seconds. The bike chatting around. Aldridge has gone over Azzaro on the way in. He wanted to be in a position on this drop down. He knows he's got the skills to try and close down the gap on Pidcock. Both the Great Britain riders ahead of the Frenchman in this chasing trio, chasing our 2 leaders. Alan Hatley of South Africa on the front in the green, gold and black. There you've then got the familiar blue and white of France with Victor Koretsky. As they come around this section, you come out of the woods, you're going up what are basically downhill berms here, trying to straight line it as much as possible. And this climb, well, we walk up this every time we come through. It's bad enough walking up this climb time and time again. It's even harder when you're racing at right pace, but these are the best riders in the world here for the 2024 UCI Mountain Bike World Championships. This the men's elite cross-country Olympic distance. The race leaders, 2 riders clear. Alan Hatley of South Africa, France's Victor Koretsky, the man who took away bronze in the Olympics leading, the man who took silver in 2nd place, the Olympic champion chasing hard behind in 3rd. It's not all that long ago we were across in Paris on Elancourt Hill to see the action unfold, and once again they are showing that they are the leading riders in this race behind Charlie Aldridge, and then Matthias Azzaro of France, 10 seconds separating the top 5.
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, the guys from the Olympics have carried that form through to this weekend, and the World Championships is equally as important for these riders. It's you know, the Olympics happens every 4 years, but this is something that the rainbow jersey, you know, that rainbow bands that you can see across all cycling disciplines. These guys really, really want that as just as much as the Olympic Games, and this is a big race for them. So here they are back battling.
Down into the descent they come. Hathaway leading Koretsky behind, takes a different line down here. This good play to the advantage of the two chasers sitting in third and fourth place. Coming down, Pidcock and Aldridge drop down out of sight as they come through that gap to Azaro. Really starting to open up. A quick pop by Pidcock on the bike there, just hopping the bike over a ditch that separates the riders on the way through. You just couldn't see that log there. It almost drops below as well. It's not just a straight drop off on that section. You've got real ditches all over the place here because there's so much rain in the mountains. That water runoff, it erodes away the surface. You get down to bedrock really quickly at the moment. Quickly making the junction. I think this is going to be Pidcock and Aldridge coming back. Or let's have a look at the rider Zara. He's the rider chasing through this rock section here. Just get bounced about a little bit.
Yeah, it's so hard. If you make a mistake in there, you lose all the momentum. And when you are on that chase, you then got that extra effort to get back up to speed. So all these little sections, even though they're not particularly technical for them, they're crucially important when they're having a battle like this, so they don't lose any seconds or any fractions of a second, because it's all hard work then to get back at the front.
Hadley and Koretsky still with the throttle open. Pidcock just starting to wind it up. Aldridge sat on his wheel here. He did a lot of work early on, Aldridge, at the front of the race, something that he's known to do. Can he now carry that to the end of the race? He's on form. He is absolutely flying. His confidence will be buoyed by his races here already this weekend here at the Mountain Bike World Championships. Time to go back down, heading downhill, lap 4 of 6. So taking a look back here, Tracy, this course, a true mountain bike course. I don't think there's a mountain biker out there that's going to go, this isn't mountain biking.
No, it's fantastic. It's nearly, well, a lot of it is really natural. There's a few man-made sections, but I think a true natural mountain bike course, you can see a root, rock, dodging trees. It's a really compact course as well, so it's really great for spectators to be able to see various different sections. The crowd can move from one to the other, and you can really get a sense of what's happening in the race. They don't disappear off. You're constantly seeing them, and there's definitely something to test every single skill that you need as a mountain biker. Seeing the guys there just having fun, launching the bottom of those tree roots, it's a fantastic course.
And great to look back there and compare that now. Just incidents out on the course here. Looks like Joshua Dubau with a problem out on the side there, not making it through that in one piece, and not what he wanted to have. I'm just going to take a little bit of a look back here, and looks like just, yeah, down he went. One slight mistake, that wheel just went from underneath him. He's got to pick himself back up again. Meanwhile, the race leaders coming back through the feed taker zone for the last time on lap number 4 of 6. So he's tight, 180 degree left, 90 right, 90 right, and they're going to be heading back up the straight behind. Pidcock there with the bottle Aldridge glued to his wheel. The race leaders come round. It's 2/3 race distance covered. It is 2 laps left to go. 16k covered, 20k in total. The leaders come through 46 minutes, 56 seconds behind. 2 chasers, both from Great Britain, chasing the rider from France, chasing the rider from South Africa. Tom Pidcock, Charlie Aldridge, 3 and 4. Then it's going to be a man on surely his best ride ever. Matthias Azaro of France, 15 seconds down the race lead in the top 5. A man in ascendancy. He chose his moment to follow the right wheel. He's done that. He's been able to make it pay. He's had the skills to deliver. He's ahead of Braido. Braido at 32 seconds at the moment, so losing 17 seconds to Azaro at the moment, sitting in 6th place. This is going to be a fantastic finish.
Yeah, I really feel like the pace is really upping now. The guys at the front, there's no holding off and sitting back. It really is a charge for line, and the guys behind are now going to get distance. All that effort early on from Azaro trying to stay with Pidcock, he's now going to have to try and regroup and see if he can continue to hold that pace. But there's a really good battle now going on. I can see Tom Pidcock's done another effort of that climb. He's having to work really hard. It's going to be interesting to see how many more times he can keep digging to try and get back to these front 2.
But we've seen it time and time again. You know, he has a puncture, he has a bad start. We've seen him sat on the floor before now at the start of a race and then come back on to take the win. It makes a huge difference. Now, a little bit further back behind our race leaders, riders continue to come in and through the line. So at the moment, it's Hathaway in 1, Koretsky 2, Pidcock 3, Aldridge 4, Azaro 5, Braido 6, Schwarzbauer 7, Flukinger 8, Saru 9, List in 10, Blevins in 11, Andreasen of Denmark moving up into 12th place, sitting in 13th, Valero in 14th, Foster in 15th at the moment. but plenty of time for that to change as these riders continue to push. Just seeing Azaro on that climb. He's now, as you say, got to hold that all the way in and through. Tough work after that really strong middle section by him.
Oh, definitely, and I think, like I said, the pace at the front is not going to let up now, and I was wondering then whether Charlie Aldridge is going to be able to help Tom Pidcock and bridge that gap, whether he could use his compatriot to get there, but I think looking like it, Charlie was probably struggling just as much to stay with that pace. But here we go again, maybe he's going to do a little bit and try and help Tom.
And he's had a chance. He was on the front. He's now done nearly a lap, sat behind. So that means he has had that little bit of chase. He's not been setting the pace. He's been following Tom Pidcock's pace, which isn't in itself easy. But the pressure has been slightly off him in terms of chasing, but now he's gone back on, and it could well be that, I mean, the two riders have raced together so many times earlier on in their careers. They're back racing for Great Britain. They're trying to take on Victor Koretsky and to take on Alan Hadley to go over the top. There were many people that thought that the strongest rider on the day at the Olympics was indeed Victor Koretsky, and maybe that because both riders had issues, Koretsky went off course. We had Pidcock with issues on the way round. Yes, Pidcock took the win because we know Tom Pidcock did Tom Pidcock things as he came into the finish. He made the move, you know. He quoted the late great Ayrton Senna at the moment that you don't take the opportunity to overtake. You don't put the move in. You need to stop racing because you're not actually racing. You're just going round. Yeah, and that's thing. He's a born racer, isn't he? To have to find a gap and to make it work. It was an incredible move, but you're seeing now even Charlie's gapped Tom down this section. So maybe Tom's efforts early on really are starting to pay, and it's going to be interesting to see whether he can get back to the wheel of his teammate. So Hadley leading that split at 50 minutes of racing complete as he came through the 17.4k marker. Koretsky on his wheel. Aldridge now leading the chase. The gap really has opened back to Pidcock. It's extended. It's now at 14 seconds. So Aldridge has sat almost halfway between the Olympic champion and the Olympic silver and bronze medalist. And at the moment, a big look back there. Hadley gets out there, suddenly looks back. He sees who's behind him. He instantly stamps on those pedals, kicks the bottom out of the bucket at the bottom of the pedal stroke each and every time as he wants to continue to push and to break clear. Koretsky sitting behind, Pidcock working hard. Didn't see if he had an issue or a problem. He was just looking like he was drifting back. Yeah, interesting. That time gap made me think something must have gone wrong, but the way he's stamping on the pedals now, he's out the saddle, makes me think the bike must be functioning, unless he's got a rear puncture that we can't see, but maybe he just made one mistake in that rock garden. It's not an easy section. There's lots of lines, so one mistake, and that could have been that time. And one thing that all mountain bikers know, doesn't matter whether you are the world's best or you're just starting out, when you are tired, that is when you make mistakes. That's when you make those errors, when you're absolutely on the limit. That's exacerbated by the fact that we're at altitude and there's even less oxygen than normal. You're pushing yourself to the limit. That's when you can't afford to make the mistakes, because generally that's when the racing is really on. Oh, exactly. And it does just take one tiny lapse in concentration and your wheel's just a couple of centimetres where it, out of where it normally is, and suddenly you hit something. So yeah, Tom's now got even more work to do to get back to those guys. What a fantastic end to this race. Well, he did say one day he might make it easy on himself. Today is definitely not that day, as our two leaders already down into the descent. Behind third place Aldridge, fourth place Pidcock, fifth place Azaro, still holding that position at the moment from Luca Bredo. Bredo, the rider behind, having to work. You can see him coming into sight now. He's already just crested that steeper section. He can't afford to relax because behind him the chase still on from Schwartzman after a really strong start, trying to make his way back in touch. This is going to be a real battle to the end. Andreasen still moving up. He's up to 11th place now. So Simon Andreasen of Denmark chasing David List of Germany. It's going to come down to what happens over the next lap and a half also, as the riders have gone through past that feed take zone. Bottle for Pidcock, more hydration on board. He loses that before the climb though. He doesn't want to carry that bottle up this steep section. Yeah, what an amazing end this is going to be. I mean, you can see Alan Hadley now at the front there. These guys are
both really pushing the pace. This is going to be a great battle. They know they've got to keep pushing hard. They don't want anyone else to get a chance to catch them. I think there's going to be some guys that didn't go off quite so hard at the start that might be able to make some time back. But there's a few people now, we see some very, very tired faces as well. This is 2 laps to go, and this is where it gets really tough in a mountain bike race. See Tom making a little bit of mistake there. He's then clipped his pedal, so you can see that Tom Pidcock's having to push really hard to get this gap back, and that's when these little mistakes are creeping in, and he needs to be able to refocus, really be smooth and be efficient on his bike if he's going to get a chance to pull that time back.
He's had plenty of practice at refocusing and resetting, restarting, getting himself back into gear, and usually it pays off. It is today the day that it doesn't. He knows that in front of him are the 3 medal positions here at the World Championships. Koretsky, Hatherley at the front of the race, Aldrich out of the saddle on the way up the downhill part of the track here. This section that takes you out and away, leads you into some of the great downhill runs. The riders riding up it and onto the bridge. The leaders take the right-hand turn. We're waiting to see Aldrich. He hits the bridge now. Behind him, Pidcock almost equidistant behind. Our next split coming up at 18.8k. The time gap is going to be really, really telling. Aldrich was at 7 seconds. It was 14 seconds at the last official time split. What's it going to be this time round? 7 and 14 is what it was this time round. Aldrich goes through that time split, losing 2 seconds. He's at 9 seconds. So he's lost a couple of seconds. Pidcock's lost a second or so on the race leaders. That push continues from Hadley, from Koretsky, continuing to open the gap as they come down into this woodland section in the middle of the course.
You have to think that Victor Koretsky is playing a pretty smart race here, sat in that second wheel. He's letting Alan Hadley do all the work so far, and that could be telling when we come into that final lap. Is he just sitting there pretty and biding his time, making a very smart race?
And you said before, there are limited overtaking opportunities in this. If we come down to that last lap, the riders will know from the finish line, working your way back around the course, where those opportunities are, where you can make those moves, where the easy overtakes are, where somebody's going to be watching for it, and maybe where there's just a sneaky little line to go through there, maybe you can take somebody by surprise.
Yeah, definitely. And they also know the riders around them. They know the skills of each of the riders, and he'll know where Alan's strong, and equally they'll know what to do. But with last lap, with those 2 big climbs, I feel like we're going to see a move on one of those 2 long climbs on that last lap, and that's going to be a chance for someone to make a gap and then have to go for it from that point to the line.
Well, let's see if Tracy Mosley's prediction comes to Tracy, who has got well over 300 race wins on a Palmares so far. I'll tell you something, Tracy. You took the title as a world champion in downhill. We talked about that in the downhill show, about what that feels like. But you started out racing cross country, and you still do race. We see you coming out on cross country. You're currently racing the e-bike.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely started cross country. I definitely enjoyed the downhill a lot more, but when I transitioned from a downhill to an enduro career, I needed to really regain my fitness and started working a lot with the British Cycling Cross Country team as their technical coach. So ridden with a lot of these guys, ridden a lot of these courses, and I think cross country is still such an amazing sport. It's such an incredible physical effort to have the skills that you need to ride, the technical nature they're riding, and also to go that hard for an hour and a half. I love watching cross-country races and taking part in it.
And we see more and more technical courses. This is in some ways a very traditional mountain bike course, because it's got a little bit of everything from bike park to pump track, where our leaders are now, through to the routes, the natural, the big slabby stones, the sections that are just going to catch you out, the single track in there. We've seen a lot more technical skills being needed by our riders. And it's almost akin to downhill some years ago, because of the level of technical ability you need.
Oh, it's amazing. We've seen technology on the bikes change, the dropper post allowing that seat to be lowered away from to get out of your way for descending, positions of bike changing, now having full suspension bikes with suspension at the front and the rear of the bikes. Tyres have changed. There's so much technology that's changed that's allowed these cross-country bikes to now be great climbing and descending bikes. And the skill of the riders as well. We've seen so many young riders growing up, with all the skill sets, with the fitness as well, and it's just incredible what they can do on a cross-country race these days.
So the gel being held out there, Hatley goes through, so does Koretsky. Interestingly, both going for bottles here, the preference for hydration and cooling rather than for refueling. They take the tight left-hand turn, which will be really interesting if we're coming into the final. We have seen previous races being decided and podium positions being decided by the run to the line after the bridge after the right-hand turn. They're going to make their way up through the crowds here in Andorra as the bell rings. It's one more lap to go. The ball goes flying from Victor Koretsky, and I think the spring was on from the kids in the crowd to grab that bottle as Koretsky launched it away there. The two riders behind, I think they are going to be focused solely on heading out here, and Pidcock, having made contact with Aldridge, goes over the top. Time for Pidcock now with 1 lap to go. He's got to do something special now. The gap to pull back, 13 seconds, and Pidcock out of the saddle here. A little bit later for Aldridge as he hits that slope to get out of the saddle. Bigger gear for Aldridge. Pidcock really spinning those pedals around despite being out of the saddle. More fluids on board for Azaro. Matthias Azaro of France in 5th position. He's a long way back though, because he's just entering that climb as the leaders are coming up over the top. Lungs are burning, legs are screaming, and you still got to be in control.
Yeah, this looks like it's an all-out effort from Pidcock there.
So Breda coming through 6th position, inside a minute at the moment. Still relatively tight time-wise in the racing here at Pal Arinsal in Andorra. Long look across to the left there by Hatley. He's always watching, he's always looking, trying to set that pace. Amazing ride by Matthias Flukinger. Now, I'm not sure what that man's made of at the moment, but I want some of it, because to be able to come back and race after appendicitis, after surgery this week, absolutely astounding. He's closing, it looks like he's closing. It may well just be our camera shot here on Breda, who's putting in an amazing ride here, but the chain of rides behind are coming now. At the front of the race, Koretsky moving to the front. Hatley, though, edging at the side there. They're very evenly matched. This is the chasing group led by Matthias Flukinger on the front. Schwarzbauer sits second wheel here. And then you can see we've got Saru in as they come in and through. Meanwhile, yeah, Koretsky, he put a big kick in there to go take the race lead from Hadley as he went over the top. He looked across there. Hadley's like, yeah, okay, so you want to go take the front?
Yeah, I mean, no, we've been waiting for that to happen. Fitzgerald's been sat on that wheel for quite a long time, so it was only a matter of time, and he's waited on that last lap, and I think this is going to be a great battle, because Alan Hadley's not going to let him get away.
These two riders who took a silver and a bronze medal. Oh, a little mistake there by Hadley. Just gets caught up on a tree on a rod, just having to pop the wheel up right on the limit. It cost him a little bit of energy. He's got the distance back. A real fight, and it looks like the gap is open between Pidcock and Aldridge. At the moment, it has. Pidcock's got them in his sights. Surely he's not going to close them down with loads of time left. We thought he was going to struggle to get there at all. Here he is on the climb. Pidcock chasing the Olympic champion on his way up this same climb. We'll have to wait for the time check to get a real accurate idea of where they're at. But Koretsky now leading into the descent. Hatley into second place. And Hatley, that little mistake from him, it's that sign which he's just reaching the edge.
Yeah, I mean, I think these guys are pushing to the absolute limit, and there's so many places on here that you can make a mistake. But again, he's pulled it back now. Just that technical section across there, there's so many lines, and they're all taking a slightly different one, and he's almost straight back on the wheel.
Into this descent, 2 different lines, 2 different skill sets, just slightly different ways of approaching this downhill from the 2 race leaders. This is going to be really indicative of what's happening on the race. Pidcock could close that gap down to 14 seconds. He was coming right the way down last time. We saw at 13. What's it going to be as he comes down in through? 13 seconds it was. It's back out to 16. It's yo-yoed again. That move by Koretsky. The battle at the front is still stretching it out. Koretsky throwing the bike down this descent.
Yeah, this is a definite attack. I think there's going to be a lot to us. We're now on to that final time up this long piece climb, and it's going to be an all-out effort from all of these guys.
Koretsky out of the saddle last time up here is following. Hadley's out of the saddle, he kicks on hard. Hadley throws the bike side to side here, trying to get every watt of power through that back wheel, getting the drive down as they come up the climb. They're not in first gear, they're not even close by the look of it. Such is the speed of these two riders on this incredibly steep, rocky ascent here. The chase behind both riders, 3rd and 4th place, come out onto the same section of track behind, but the gap has opened up in front. The 2 riders from Great Britain chasing the rider from France, chasing the rider from South Africa. The battle for third place is on, and now Hadley goes over the top of Koretsky. Anything you can do, I can do better. He's come to the front and he's smiling. He goes over the top. Has Koretsky got anything left? Can he answer this move that's being made by Hadley? And Hadley is starting to gap him, I think, up at the top of the climb there. You can just see them going over, and I think he's opened a gap here. That was a move there by Hadley to go up and round. Koretsky just sits down. He can't stay out of the saddle. Hadley kicks out of the saddle. Koretsky responds. We're going to have to see where they are as they come over the climb. Is this the race-winning move by Alan Hadley? Can Koretsky come back? What an effort.
Oh, you can see the effort on their faces, the grimace that's going on. That was heroic. It's going to be really great to see what the last half lap gives us. But yeah, what a gap he's got there. You can see it looks like Victor Koretsky. That body language to me already looks like his head's dropped a little bit. This is just Hadley is now going to have to attack this steep climb, and this is going to be really hard for Koretsky to come back from.
Koretsky leading the way onto that climb. He had pushed all the way down the descent. He attacked on the climb. He was answered by Hadley. The counter-attack came as it came over the top. Hadley opened the gap. He got the gap on the downhill extended. They're now coming into the woods. What they got left, they can afford to make no mistakes. That gap will be gone in a fraction of a second. If they make a mistake, Koretsky just drifting back. Recompose, reset time is running out though as we drop down here. This right turn leading us around another bumpy section, and then we've got another climb going to come up into the central section. This is a long drag up past the gondola station into the centre. Has Hadley gone too early? It's looking very decisive at the moment.
Oh, I think he looks good. You don't appreciate how hard it is to descend when you've just put that heroic effort in and you have gone absolutely everything you've got in your legs, and then you have to hold it together, try and be smooth, be efficient, be careful not to puncture. There's so many things that are going on. I think it's incredible to see these guys when they're at their best, because this is going to be a fantastic. He's pulling away now. Koretsky's not going to let this go there. There's definitely a big effort from him. He's going to keep him in his sights as much as he can.
Well, the world #1 making his way up the climb up over the bridge and into the woodland behind. Koretsky chasing Alan Hadley, the man with the race lead. Pidcock and Aldridge battling it out behind for third and fourth place. Hadley goes through that gap. That isn't a wedge he's driven in there. I don't know anything that, but it's huge. It's just exploded that gap. Surely it is all over now for Koretsky. He's got to be careful. He can't afford to drop back, because word will have gone out to the chasers behind that he's struggling. If he's gone into the red zone and blown, that could be really dangerous for him in terms of keeping a hold of that silver medal.
Yeah, I think Alan Hadley now, with a half a lap to go, Hadley knows that he's just got a tiny bit left of this race just to keep it together. And I think you can see Pidcock still challenging. This is going to be a fantastic finish.
So 13 seconds to Koretsky, 34 to Pidcock. It's only 11 seconds separating second and third place. It's then Aldridge behind, 12 seconds behind Tom Pidcock in third place. Second place, Koretsky still chasing Hadley, but look at the gap here. It's opened up, and Koretsky knows he's now going to be reliant surely on a mistake by Alan Hadley or an incident with the bike for him to be in trouble. And he can't afford to make any mistakes himself, because he's got Pidcock not all that far behind, and Aldridge chasing, and behind them Matthias Azaro, Bredo, Flukinger, Schwarzbauer, List, Saru and Andreasen. Andreasen and List are still continuing to hover around about that top 10 marker as they make their way in through. Look at this, dropping her down in. Seat goes down, he's got the dropper pit engaged, not wanting to make a mistake, giving himself room to move about on the bike. When you're tired, hitting those bumps, it just saps the energy around the next climbing section. It just never lets up, relentless all the way round. But time running out now for Victor Koretsky as Alan Hadley out of the saddle, making his way around these turns, looking good at the moment. an 8-time national champion, a bronze medal at the Olympic Games for Hadley. He's looking to take away top sport here. He's held a gold medal before in the under-23s. He's being challenged by Koretsky, the man in second place at the moment again, and he's going to be wishing he was in top sport. I'm not sure there's anything he's going to be able to do about it. 20 seconds the gap now.
Oh, fantastic. And really, Alan Hadley now has not got much track left. There's nothing super technical that he's got to worry about. He's now just got to keep himself and his bike together in this last section, but not let up too much, because there's a nice gap, but he's still got to be sure that he can get to that finish line.
Well, he's out of the pump track before Koretsky drops into the bridge down here. Koretsky just popping the bike over as he makes his way around the tracks. Little manual on the way through there. He's just moving smoothly through there, not wanting to make a mistake. Alan Hadley, though, already out down at the base here of this section. He's got to rise up through the woods to do. You can see him pushing on the pedals. The pits are going to explode as he comes in through. He makes his way around that left turn. He's going to come out into the sunshine for the final time. He's going to make his way through the feed take zone. Tight left, 290 rights to get in. We're tracking back for Koretsky. Here he comes. It's way too far now for the Frenchman to take away the race win. Hadley looking astounding on the front. He's opened the gap. He's past the feed take zone. The South African comes onto the bridge. He punches the air. He knows he's done enough. Into the final turn he comes. The gold medalist, a winner in the under-23s in 2018, makes it a win here in the Elite Cross-Country Championship. Alan Hadley, the world champion for 2024.
Wow, what a ride. He's got time to hold his bike in there and celebrate. I think that'd be a really popular win.
He's such a popular rider. He's popular with the teams, with the crews, with the supporters. This man, well, he's always going to be popular here. Great ride, and look at that. He points the finger at the man from South Africa, gives him the thumbs up. What a ride. The congratulations come out. Alan Hadley, the world champion. Victor Koretsky, the silver medalist, in second. It's Tom Pidcock, the Olympic gold medalist. He takes away third place. A complete reversal of the places. The 1, 2, 3. The 3, 2, 1 from the Olympics to the World Championships. The three best riders in the world at the moment through the line. The man who's been challenging all the way. Great weekend for Charlie Aldridge. He pops it round, starting it up to the end. Always a showman. A great ride by Aldridge to come through to take fourth place. Alan Hadley, though, the race winner in the men's elite cross-country Olympic here in Arinsal in Andorra. Now the rest of the riders making their way in towards that finishing area. Good ride here today. A career best for Matthias Azaro of France. Brilliant ride by him to come through. Fifth place, the second Frenchman coming through. So one South African, two French riders, two riders from Great Britain. The next rider should be our rider from Italy. He's on the bridge now. He's taking the right-hand turn onto the finishing straight. Great ride here today by Luca Bredo. He's going to come in for a sixth place at the World Championships. Lucas Schwarzbach, happy man, he's going to come through. He's going to take a seventh place. One of the heroes of the day, the week, the year. Matthias Flukinger comes through in eighth place. Jordan Saru should be coming through for ninth. I think it's going to be a List for 10th place. It is List getting the high fives of the crowd on the way to the line. A great ride by him, working his way up through the race. A really well paced and promises well for the future.
Wow, that was amazing. I love a World Championships, and yeah, this guy, what a reward for a lot of hard work. Some great World Cup overalls in the last couple of years. That Olympic Games, I know he was super stoked to get that bronze medal, but to now to back it up and to become world champion, fantastic.
Yeah, a fantastic rider. Great to see him in action. Amazing to see what he can do when he goes for this. The rider who was riding strongly. I mean, he is a rider that we know is class. He's such a well-liked rider and always popular. And speaking of popular, a man who we do know is always popular, Christopher Blevins, makes his way in through the line. He's chased Nino Schurter in through behind Colin Dunny and Andreas. Joshua Dubau after that incident out on course, coming through for a top 15. Good recovery by him. Andre Singh coming in 16th position, a run for the line, and that's not what you want to happen. Marcel Guerini, who's having a great mountain bike season with no chain on the bike, runs his way to the finishing line here to come in just ahead of Lars Foster, his countryman. So our next rider in just outside that top at 20, that is going to be Martin Vidari-Kostman, the Chilean rider. Comes over the line, a little bit of a gap back behind him. Alan Hatley's ride, he had it when it mattered. He could answer the attack of Koretsky on that climb. That was the decisive moment.
Oh, it was, and I did think that climb was going to be definitely where the race-winning move came from. But I have to say, I thought Alan Hadley did a little bit too much on the front for a lot of the race, and I thought Victor Koretsky was playing the smart move. He was the one sat there on that second wheel, and yeah, fair play to Alan Hadley. That was fantastic. He timed that to perfection, and yeah, what a victory. He will remember that day for a long, long time.
Great to see him in action. Great to see the way that he answered that. Alan Hatley, you've got something in common with him. He is an EMTB cross-country mountain bike world champion as well, actually, in 2019. A little bit different. One of the few men to beat Jérôme Gillot, who has taken multiple titles in that competition. So a multi-talented rider. The rest of the race field making the way in here and scrolling through on your screens. Filippo Fontana and Jens Sherman's coming through from Belgium. He would have wanted just that little bit more here today. And Colombo coming up to the line after being in contention early on. Not his day at the office, that is for sure.
There's some very tired and dusty looking bodies now crossing the finish line. Just being out in that race, being amongst all that dust, following the wheel, breathing in that lack of oxygen up here, it's a tough race. Even one lap shorter than it would have been normally been for the Elite Men's race, they've still absolutely pushed themselves to the limit today.
I can just see Gunnar Holmgren coming in and through. The Canadians having a fantastic weekend here at the Mountain Bike Championships. Make sure you do catch up with all of the race action that's been happening here in Pal Arinsal in Andorra over the course of the weekend. Today's schedule compressed down because of the impending thunderstorm. Just seeing one or two greyer clouds starting to make their way in as we see a man who's going to be very unhappy with that performance. Sam Gaze coming in through. He's a man who certainly, his post-race interviews, his thoughts, he's very honest about how he feels and how it affects him. He's going to have to come back because we still have plenty more World Cups to come. This man's going to go in the rainbow jersey. He's going to be wearing those rainbow stripes across his chest. He gets to wear them on his arms, on his sleeves forever. What a ride. Alan Hatley of South Africa, your 2024 Elite Men's Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic World Champion. Second place today for Victor Koretsky. He's getting used to that silver medal. He's a man, though, who knows what it is to win. He knows what it is to take a gold medal. He will want to do that in the cross-country Olympic. He will be able to take his next chance at the World Championships in Valais. Got to say honourable mentions in the battle of the whole race long to Charlie Aldridge. We're still just about energy to style it up, but amazing racing here in Pal Arinsal for the men's elite mountain bike. Fantastic to see the riders coming through, and still riders making their way up the line. Just seeing one of our Brazilian contingent coming up, getting their high fives. Canadian riders coming through, and everybody really engaging with the crowd, with the youngsters here out and around race circuit. So as the weekend draws to what is a slightly early close, thank you very much for watching all the race action here in the men's elite. Here is the results on your screens now. Hatley, Koretsky, Pitt got your 1, 2, 3, taking the gold, silver and bronze medal. Aldridge, Cesaro, Bredo, Schwarzbauer, Flukinger, Saru and List rounding out the top 10. 2 minutes 12 from number 1 to number 10 on that list. Right. A great ride by all of our riders here today. But the man who absolutely had it when it mattered, Alan Hatley. Let's hear from him now.
Alan, not only have you won the rainbow jersey, but you've just become the first athlete from South Africa to win the Men Elite XCO UCI World title. Put that into words for us.
Oh, I can't right now. I mean, I'm really emotional, to be honest. I knew I had good legs, but to be able to win like that is a dream come true. And yeah, I felt a lot of pressure on my own shoulders today. I knew I had a good chance, and just super happy for myself, my team, my country, my supporters that I was able to pull it off today. And those bands are going to stay on my arm forever, and looking forward to wearing them for the rest of this season and next season for sure.
Just talk us through that race, because it was such an epic battle right throughout, and then you waited until the last lap to make the defining attack, and you quickly opened up a gap.
Yeah, I mean, Victor was really going for it on the last lap, as I expected, and yeah, on the steep kicker, he went really hard at the bottom, and then kind of he started to fade off a bit, and then he sat down, and I knew that this was my chance. If I was taking it to a sprint with him, it was going to be tough to win. So yeah, I just grabbed the opportunity with two hands and went all in. It's the deepest I've ever been. It's world champs. I really took a risk at going way over the limit, and yeah, luckily I was able to recover and keep the bike upright to cross the line.
Can you put into words what this means for mountain biking in South Africa, and probably more generally just cycling as well?
Yeah, I think it's just the beginning for South Africa. I think the young talent is coming through, and yeah, in the elite race, especially with Candice, I mean, you can see South Africa's really made a big step up the last few years, and we aren't going anywhere, and we're moving up the ranks really fast now.
Congratulations, Alan.
Well, great riding by Alan Hatley. Last time the Mountain Bike World Championships were in South Africa. That was in Pietermaritzburg back in 2013. But let's have a look back at how that race unfolded here. From the race start, a really quick kick off the line necessary to be in position, and it was Schwarzbauer who led the riders into that first right-hand turn and onto the climb behind a pinch point on that right-hand turn, slowing the riders down, but very quickly leading the group, establishing itself. Koretsky, Hadley, Aldrich, along with the Bredo Schwarzbauer. As Saru started to drop backwards, we saw a challenge coming from Colombo, coming from Flukinger, but ultimately not to be the race for them. Pidcock, after a characteristically normal, slower start and almost getting mobbed by the pack, worked his way up through the pack. He made his way into that lead in the group and continued to challenge. Repeated moves, though, by Hadley, by Koretsky, kept on distance in the Olympic champion, who had behind him Matthias Saro for company for much of that chase. And as they made the way into the last third of the race, Hadley and Koretsky had a gap on Pidcock, Aldrich and Azaro. Behind, Bredo was chasing. He kept chasing a long, lonely ride, but with one lap to go, it was Hadley and Koretsky who had the race lead. Pidcock continued to push behind. He had his teammate Charlie Aldrich for company, taking it in turns, trying to close the gap down, but the ultimately decisive move came on the big, long climb up the gravel fire road, as after Koretsky attacked and then had to sit down, Hadley counter-attacked and kept on going to the summit, and Koretsky had no answer to the South African's effort as he came up. He held and then extended that gap to the line to take away the title. The 2024 UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic Men's Elite Champion, Alan Hatley of South Africa. Victor Koretsky making it a silver medal here today. Congratulated the winner as he came over the line after a fantastic battle all the way out and around the course. And it was the Olympic champion who had to settle for a bronze medal here today, waving to the crowd, but ultimately without enough in there and too much work to do to get back to the race winning position. So a great race here today. The full results are heading to you here in Arinsal in Andorra, Hadley, Koretsky, Pidcock, you're 1, 2, 3, and we're going to scroll our way down. You can see where your favourite runner from your nation is, and don't forget, mountain biking continues right through the summer and into the autumn with lots more World Cups to come and lots more great racing and lots of racing wherever you are out in the world. Jump on your mountain bike, get out there and race, get out there and ride. It's always good to see new riders in the sport. Tracy, any takeaways from the men's race in particular here?
Such a great battle between those top guys all the way to the finish line.
So our riders making their way through great battles, great racing, great fights in the run to the line, and we're going to see what's going to happen as these riders go on throughout the season. Don't forget that as we make our way in and through, you can keep up with all of the action on social media. You can keep up with all of the action on the UCI website. That is www.uci.org. You can catch up with the mountain biking at UCI Mountain Bike, and of course you can keep up with Tracy Mosley on our website. It's www.tracymosley.com, and of course you can keep up with me at Matt Fixer Payne. We love to see what our riders are getting up to when they're out and about, and let us know if you get to Andorra to tick off the race runs on your bucket list. Now, we are going to move across to our podium presentations, our medal ceremonies for the women's and men's races here today at Andorra, and that's going to be brought to you very, very shortly. The riders just being ready to backstage, the press already trying to grab a word with our race winners. We're going to be bringing you the women's and the men's ceremony very shortly indeed. So just taking a look across this venue, it's been a fantastic weekend of racing. We're not going to give you any spoilers from what's happening in the rest of the racing. Please do make sure you catch up with the action if you can on the way through. Tracy, a great venue. It's a classic venue. There's been different variations of courses, of tracks in the mountain bike, cross country and in the downhill, but they always seem to deliver.
Oh, definitely. It really is a great location. I love the fact that it's got such natural terrain. It's high in the mountains. The altitude it makes it tricky, but it's nice to have a race where it challenges different aspects of the rider's ability. And yeah, I think the fans here really love mountain biking. It's really, really obvious. And the World Championships is always a special event. People have come here dressed up here, hosting their nations. There's been great entertainment, and yeah, you forget how great a World Championship until you're here. And yeah, sadly we've got to wait another 12 months for another amazing weekend.
We do, but we're going to Valais in Switzerland, the cross-country Olympic coming from Crans-Montana, a course that was one of the toughest courses this year. Now, there are going to be some changes made. That's already been confirmed by the organising committee. So don't think it's going to be exactly the same, because there's always tweaks, there's always changes to the courses. But it was a real mountain bikers course. That was commented upon by people like Luana Lecompte, who we know loves a proper full-on mountain bike course. And the riders loving that course if they've got the skills. And that is such a key part of mountain biking, having the skills and the ability to deal with the terrain.
Oh, definitely. And I think now we're seeing so many amazing places to ride our bikes all over the world, all these different bike parks emerging. We're seeing riders getting into the sport at younger and younger ages, and their skill level is just off the scale. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. I think a classic, a Swiss race as well. The Swiss have been such a dominant force in that sport for so long, not having the best World Championships here, I probably would say, but I can imagine they're going to regroup and they are going to make sure they're on the medal table next year in the Valais, that's for sure.
And when you've got two riders of the calibre and inspirational ability of Nino Schurter and Yolanda Neff, you know that that's going to be inspiring generations of riders, as you say, go to a home championship where we're going to see 7 disciplines in across the various venues in Valais, in that region in Switzerland. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. So we are going to move over to our podiums. Let's have a look back at our top 3 riders here today. The women's race was an epic battle, but taking away the bronze medal after battling the entire race along Martina Berta of Italy in 3rd place. Absolutely ecstatic after a race-long battle where she managed to just beat Candice Lill of South Africa into 4th place. 3rd place for the rider from Italy. An ecstatic Amstra of the Netherlands taking second place on the podium. A superbly paced ride, improving all race along, catching back all but the eventual winner, her countrywoman from the Netherlands, Podium, who led from the green line. It was go, go, go all the way to the line for the Flying Dutchman. I tell you what, she is a rider who we should be following in every discipline she takes on.
Oh, I think she's a huge inspiration for all the young riders.
Now, let's see if she is as charismatic on the podium as always. It is the medal ceremony for the Women's Elite Cross Country Olympic.
Award ceremony of the 2024 UCI Mountain Bike World Championships Women Elite XCO.
Cerimònia protocol·lària dels campionats del món de mountain bike de cross country elite femení.
The medals and jersey will be presented by Mr. José Luis López Cerón, member of the UCI Management Committee.
Medalles i mallots seran lliurats pel senyor Josep Luis López Cerrón, membre del comitè de direcció de la UCI.
In third place, and winner of the bronze medal, representing Italy.
Tercera posició, guanyadora de la medalla de bronze, representant Itàlia,
Martina Berta.
Well, great to see Martina Berta onto the podium. She showed so much grit, so much determination in that race to take away the third place in the race. A just reward after that race-long effort.
In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing Netherlands.
en segona posició i guanyadora de la medalla d'argent, representant els Països Baixos.
Anna Terpstra!
With the silver medal, a second place, and certainly a rider very popular with all of the riders. And a rider who we know has had this medal coming for a long time, and great to see her up on the podium here at the 2024 Mountain Bike World Championships.
The UCI World Champion and winner of the gold medal, representing Netherlands.
Primera posició, campiona del món de la Unió Ciclista Internacional i guanyadora de la medalla d'or, representant els Països Baixos,
Pook Pietersen.
After a third place and a bronze medal in Glasgow in 2023, it wasn't one step better, but two. As she pulls on that rainbow jersey, it'll be sinking home that she is our 2024 Women's Elite Mountain Bike World Champion. The 22-year-old from the Netherlands has those rainbow bands on the jersey. She has the gold medal around the neck. From start to finish, the best rider in the race today.
The gifts will be presented by...
els obsequis seran lliurats per la honorable senyora Eva Sansa, cònsol major de la
Reflecting back on that race by Podium Tracy, an amazing race by her, leading from start to finish. It takes some bottle, but she carried it out, no problems at all.
Oh, fantastic. Like she said in her interview, she just rode her own race and it was good enough today. But to have the confidence to know how hard you need to go and to know you can maintain that, what a fantastic ride.
A fantastic ride by all three of our riders, receiving their gifts here from our local dignitaries. And of course, the best way to inspire the next generation is to get them onto the bike. I'm sure that Puck could probably take away a world championship in the rider bikes as well. But I think for now, it's time for us to applaud our riders as they receive the gifts, and I'm sure the watch for our race winner will be held onto dearly for a long time to come. Memories being made for us and for our podium riders here today in the Women's Elite Mountain Bike World Championships.
The national anthem of the Netherlands.
Senyors i senyors, En honor de la guanyadora, en aquests moments sonarà l'himne dels Països Baixos.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your applause for our medalists.
Senyors i senyors, de nou un aplaudiment per les nostres medallistes.
Well, the applause rings out for our top three riders here today in the Women's Elite Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic. Your world champion, Puk Pedersen, taking first place in the gold medal. Anne Terpstra taking away second in the silver medal. And Martina Berta taking away third place and having that bronze medal around her neck. The riders beginning their media duties here today at the World Championships. Three great riders, and after two French riders in 1 and 2 in Glasgow last year, and 1 and 2 for the Netherlands here this year.
Yeah, fantastic, and I think that's going to inspire the generation of riders there in the Netherlands. Like Puk said, the mountain bike is not the biggest thing they have there. They're at sea level and we're at altitude, but for some reason it seems to work, because Anne Terpstra had great rides here, so fantastic to see. Yeah,
riders who, I mean, as Puk says, she lives below sea level. You know, literally the dike that holds the sea back, it's there, you know, it's holding it above the level, and yet that change in racing. She is an adaptable rider, though. We've seen that time and time again.
Definitely, she's got such skills in whatever discipline she takes to, and I think, yeah, the Dutch have always had a really strong cycling nation, and I think now that's just going to be a great inspiration for mountain biking to become top of that list, maybe.
Well, we will see where she goes. I'm sure she's got the Olympic medal on, the Olympic title on her hit list of things to do on the bucket list. But the emotions of today, she's got plenty of time to enjoy those, particularly in the fact that she was joined on the podium by her countrywoman, Anne Terpstra. And really nice to see Anne Terpstra get that reward. I mean, it feels like someone she's been around for a long, long time. Oh, definitely. She's had some great results. She's been so consistent. And to finally get it right on the day that it matters, she's going to remember this day for a long time. And Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, we've got to say, 5 times world champion, finishing her racing career off here in terms of the mountain bike. Or so she says. I still, a bit like other riders, I almost hesitate to believe it, because they are just so talented and they love riding the bike so much. You could see the emotion there. I mean, she's raced against Puk Pedersen. She knows how good she is. She knows that mountain biking is in pretty safe hands. Definitely. I think it's probably nice for her to know that she's kind of passed that jersey on to a younger rider who's got a lot of time and a lot of career to come. And yeah, I do interested to see whether Pauline has her time on the road and whether or not she does come back eventually to mountain bike. It'd be really interesting to see. Well, she can get out on the tracks here in Andorra anytime, and you can join the riders out here, of course, testing yourself against the hill, against yourself, and see just how skillful or otherwise you are on these tracks and trails. Now, we are going to be just doing a little bit of a switch about backstage, getting ready for the men's elite medal ceremony here on stage. We're going to be bringing our 3 best riders from today's race, and let's take a look and see who we're going to be seeing on stage. Well, Tom Pidcock has always made it hard for himself today. After that start, he spent the entire race chasing a 3rd place for the Olympic champion and defending world champion. It was a 2nd place, a familiar podium position for Victor Goretzky, who nevertheless knew that he had had a great race, battling against the man who took overall victory, barely believing it as he came into the finish. From South Africa, the UCI world champion, Alan Hatherley. So the riders are ready. It's time for the medal ceremony for the men's elite cross-country Olympic at the 2024 UCI Mountain Bike World Championships.
ceremony of the 2024 UCI Mountain Bike World Championships Men Elite XCO.
Cerimònia protocol·lària dels campionats del món de mountain bike UCI 2024 de cross country elite masculí.
The medals and jersey will be presented by Monsieur Thierry Maréchal, President UCI Mountain Bike Commission.
Les medalles i el mallot seran lliurats pel senyor Thierry Maréchal, president de la Comissió de Mountain Bike a la Federació Ciclista Internacional.
In third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Great Britain.
Tercera posició i guanyador de la medalla de bronze, representant Anglaterra, Gran Bretanya.
Thomas Pidcock.
So Tom Pidcock, a man who resides in Andorra, moving here after that win on home turf in Glasgow, or on what is now home turf, takes away a bronze medal. A third place here at the Mountain Bike World Championships.
And winner of the silver medal, représentant la France.
En segona posició i guanyador de la medalla d'argent, representant a França,
Victor Koretsky.
A second place here for Victor Koretsky, on somewhere he too almost calls home. His family, his friends, all here to celebrate. They've been enjoying the weekend so far. It's a silver medal for the man from France.
UCI World Champion and winner of the gold medal, representing South Africa.
primera posició, campió del món de la UCI i guanyador de la medalla d'or, representant Àfrica del Sud,
Alan Hatherley.
Well, a massive round of applause for the man from South Africa. A country with a massive tradition in mountain biking, with legends like Greg Minnaar. In the downhill, Alan Hatherley now pulls on the cross-country rainbow stripes across that jersey. He will get to wear them on his arms forever this year. Your world champion with the gold medal, Alan Hatherley of South Africa.
The gifts will be presented by
lliurant els obsequis al molt il·lustre senyor Raül Ferrer, ministre de Territori i Urbanisme i membre
We saw
del
a
Comitè
fantastic
d'Honor.
battle, Tracy, between our riders here. We've got the top three riders from the Olympics in Paris, here at the World Championships at Arinsal in Andorra, showing just why they are the best. Alan Hatherley, though, our world champion, with an answer to everything everybody could throw at him.
Yeah, I think he rode a fantastic race. He did a lot of work on the front, but he obviously had the legs. He said he went the deepest he's ever gone to win that title, and very much deserved. I hope he will enjoy, I know, wearing this jersey for the next 12 months.
And that's something that nobody will ever take away. He's written now his name on the history books as the world champion, as the winner of the men's elite cross-country mountain bike Olympic. A fantastic race from all three of our medalists here. And your champion is Alan Hatherley of South Africa.
Senyors i senyors, en honor al nostre nou campió del món, us presentem l'himne nacional de Sud-àfrica.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your applause for our medalists.
I aquí els tenim, amics I amigues. L'aplaudiment pels nostres tres
So your top three in the men's elite cross-country Olympic at the 2024 Mountain Bike World Championships. Taking it away, race victory, the world champion #1 and the gold medal, Alan Hatley. Second place and the silver medal for Victor Koretsky. And the third place, the bronze medal for Tom Pidcock. The three riders with their medals here today. Combination of a great weekend's racing here in Andorra. Arinsal, the cross-country has excelled time and time again. These three riders we know are going to be battling it out, but the man who's got the most to take in, I think, is Alan Hatley here in the men's competition. It's got to sink in. It's going to take time. As a world champion, you've worn that rainbow jersey. These moments on stage are special. You've got that jersey to you. You've won that. You've earned that. It doesn't come for free.
No, definitely. And that podium moment for me is a lasting memory. It's just fantastic.
Well, our world champions have plenty of duties to attend to. Alan Hatley writing his name down into the history books as our winner here today ahead of Victor Koretsky. Our two medalists, gold medalists from the championships, are two world champions, Puk Pieterse and Alan Hatley from the Netherlands and South Africa, respectively, both on stage in the women's and men's elite jerseys. A fantastic race in both races, both showing just what mountain biking is all about. And Tracy, it's always a pleasure putting words to the action, but when it's racing like that, it's just extra special.
Oh, it's amazing. I think both races today delivered some fantastic racing from start to finish. There was a battle going on all the time, and those guys have pushed themselves to the absolute limit to try and win that jersey today. And yeah, it's amazing to be here and commentate on it.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here in the commentary box. Our riders just getting themselves sorted on the stage. I think we're going to see Victor Koretsky's young son on here. Man who takes the T-shirt of the World Championships Award, if there was such a thing. We saw that earlier on, and great to see Victor already inspiring another generation here. And there you go. And that's what we want to see, a world champion who's got all the time in the world for riders coming up and through. There's going to be plenty of people inspired. I hope you're inspired by the racing here today. Don't forget, jump on your bike, get down your local club, go down, see your local mountain bike venue, your bike park. Mountain bikers are a friendly bunch. We're all one big family. And there's lots of entertainment at all of our world championships. Well, I did mention the slackline earlier in the show. Here he is. He's going to keep everybody entertained as they make the way towards the gondola here today. He has fallen off it once or twice, we've seen. So, fortunately, there is a safety line on there. There is a lot more to come from here, and there's been a lot of great action. Make sure you do catch up with all the action from the Mountain Bike World Championships here in Andorra, across all of those disciplines. Lots of places to pick that up. You can watch the action, you can catch up on social media, and of course the World Cup will be commencing very shortly again, with the cross country continuing in towards its conclusion for the 2024 season. We then have a little break in terms of mountain biking cross country over the winter. However, there's lots of other great disciplines covered by the UCI that you can catch up on, from cyclo-cross to indoor cycling to urban to trials mountain biking, which is going to be in Abu Dhabi. The championships that's nearly at the end of the year. The indoor cycling that's coming from Bremen in Germany. We've got so many great disciplines out there as part of cycling, and of course all those disciplines rewarded with the rainbow jersey. Both are world champions signing the rainbow jersey. That's a jersey to get your hands on. The signatures of Puk Pieterse and Alan Hatley. So Alan Herthley, Pope Peterson and our riders getting their signatures down. Plenty of practice they've had already. There's plenty more to come as a world champion. Amazing world champions crowned across all our races here at the Mountain Bike World Championships in Arinsal in Andorra. And all our riders have been hunting for those jerseys. The next chance will be in Valais in 2025. Make sure you come back for that. A pleasure being in the commentary box with Tracy Mosley. Thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much to all our riders keeping us entertained, and a big thank you to all of the team behind the scenes making the event happening. So many thousands of people make it happen. But from me, Matt Payne, from Tracy Mosley and all the team, stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.